Hello, y'all. Let me just jump over this screen. Let's try this again. Welcome to Gablash. I'm your host, Abby Devin. This is a platform where we chat about pretty much anything and everything wrestling related that we feel like talking about in the moment, be the topics of the week or whatever's on the mind at the moment. It really is a matter of what we're all feeling like we're chatting about, really. Anyways, I'll ask again for those who may have just come by, how we doing today? The day been good to you? The weekend been good to you? Save for my hiccup just now, I think mine has been fairly decent, all things considered. I mean, I'm starting to feel like I'm stuck in a loop with WWE, but other than that, seems like seems like it's been a good weekend, and it shall remain a good weekend. I will will it into existence. Damn it. Actually, been having a lot of fun on WB 2K23. It's been a lazy, hazy day for me, as I said before, in regards to streaming that. Not streaming that, playing that. But I do stream that. On Sundays, 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. PST, with my friend here, Craig, in chat, alongside with fellow enforcer Cameron Zebra, and Bina Momentum. But yeah, I'll do plugs a little bit later in the show. We're here to chat the wrestles. Let's chat the wrestles. Murray turns up next Raw or SmackDown, and I know for a fact we're all in a loop. Right? Then all of a sudden, TEW booking becomes real life booking. In reference to the 2W verse over Wrestle World. But yeah, y'all, I'm a little bit scatterbrained. And was up really late. Didn't get the most rest. I still tried to get out of bed at a reasonable hour. Made the thumbnail for the video today, and then I just kind of vibed out on 2K, and it's kind of as time is coming up on stream, I'm like, you know what? Maybe I really should just move these to Tuesdays or something like that. So that might end up being on the docket. Not this upcoming Tuesday, but I'm thinking starting next week, Gablash will be on Tuesdays. Just get ahead of the curve come Collision, because I don't think it's a good idea to have the two streams on the same day. Not to mention Saturday, it's kind of like a weird day. I like being able to, be there for our UK crowd, but that's it. That's pretty much it. It's a conflict of interest. It's either you know, burn himself out trying to do the two streams for the sake of doing it earlier, or doing it on a Tuesday leading into NXT. We'll see how it works. Maybe we'll move back to Saturday if it's not working out for anybody. Vibing out on 2K becomes a regular thing for me. Love making new characters. Made the next one. Hell yeah. I fall into that myself with the games. You know, Taekwon? I do suck. Thank you. Um, Yeah, 2K, it can be pretty fun. Honestly, wrestling games, I'm starting to rediscover my love for them. I got hooked on 2K19 back in the day, and that in itself was kind of a revival of my love for it then. But I really had to step away from it because I got so deep into the creating thing, and I'm like, no, there's other stuff I should be spending this much time and creative effort on, like comics or content creation, things like that. But it's so awesome to see people like invest and get into the nitty-gritty detail of character creation, from the subtle motion during an entrance timing up with music to a move set playing off of itself from a meta perspective to the aesthetic of the character having the smallest little details cheating in a way to look like something it actually isn't. Back in the day, like it's 30 years ago, but it feels like it's Taekwon. That was on the other side of the pandemic, okay? I think we're all in agreement that the pandemic created this, like, dog years mentality of life where each year felt like seven, okay? I feel firmly like a 43-year-old man. I was about to say like 72. Hyperbole is real, but yes, I feel like a grown ass man, like a middle aged grown ass man after the pandemic. And I say after, like it still isn't ongoing to some degree, but I think a lot of people's general consensus is when you say pandemic, it just is referring to like the lockdown era of life. The WWE belts thing. And redesigning me feels like part of the rebrand. That's exactly what I'm thinking too, Craig. Well, not exactly, but it just was that was my general line of thinking and trying to justify the thought process because it's like you had okay, like, and I don't know why I didn't see this coming as soon as they announced it, right? But I turned on SmackDown at some ungodly hour of the night last night to catch up on it. And in the rundown for the show at the top of the card, they were like Asuka Championship unveiling or something like that. And I was like, they're doing it. They're doing the thing. We're getting new women's championships, the new names. We've been talking about it, and they're going to do it, and they're going to listen to us. And goddamn monkey paws booking. They come at us with, yes, here's new championship, but more of the same. The more things change, the more they stay the same. I'm banging my camera out of frame because I'm so aggravated the more I think about it. Because it's just like Groundhog Day. It's truly Groundhog Day. I mean, you people do age faster, so I agree. And you know, wow, Taekwon. Okay, wow, stepping on those toes. Came in here revealing that somebody's Saturday hasn't been kind to them. Pandemic years felt so damn long, right? It's like there was so much wisdom and life to be gained in the pandemic years, you know. And yet now it looks like I'm just like out of. It hasn't fallen. I just feel so out of alignment because the lines aren't aligning. And now I'm blurry. I'm embracing the tech issues now. Fuck a professional presentation at this point. Can I say fuck? Are we 5 minutes in? Doesn't matter. Fucking fuck. I love how it's called the WWE Women's Championship, but I hate that it's undisputed. Does it really, Taekwon? That is an actual shame. That's an actual travesty because that's that more so than erroneously referring to it as an undisputed championship. What grinds my gears about that is that it's literally a palette swap. It's the title downsized from large to medium plate, put on a white strap. You can forge this. You can literally make Roman's title into the women's title through custom creations in ordering a replica belt. I mean, I'm not sure if they still have that custom creations feature where you could get it like with a different colored strap or certain nameplate or certain side plates, stuff like that. I imagine they would. I feel like that's part of the luster, you know? But if that's the case, Taekwon, that actually upsets me even more because I didn't know that was a thing. I'll get it. I'll get it eventually. There we go. There we go. I'm going to try and not bang my desk and sip on my unnecessary caffeine. So this now makes me wonder. Groundhog's Day on Monday? Because the report says, okay, so let me clarify some things. Let's do the official bit stuff. So let's run over to the source. Let's do the dirty sheets. FightfulSelect.com says segment of the show. So in the naming of the titles, for starters, that is very intentional. The way they're doing that was it's now going to be referred to as the WWE Women's Championship. It says undisputed. That's so saddening, Taekwon. That also you may be behind. Double check on your live feature or not. Unless it was just delayed answering. It's like my belts and just slap a new strap, a different color, the same belt design, not changed. Right? Correct. It's like they won't see the title close up. It's like they won't even notice. That's so the mentality. Like that's so got to be the mentality. And for a multi-billion-dollar corporation that just went through a merger that only made them more money than they've ever made before, on top of countless years of making more money than they ever made before, time after time after time again, you think they'd spare an expense or two and go the extra mile for the little details, but no. Why do that? Gold works better with the white though. Oh, absolutely, Taekwon. I do agree. I think it looks much better. That was part of the reason why I convinced myself to go with pretty much the same layout for the thumbnail 2 weeks in a row on Gablash, because on top of the Groundhog Day vibe and embracing that, it's a better looking design than the last one is. Whoa. Yeesh, Taekwon. Okay. So yes, more on this report. Wasn't an accident. It was clarity in the situation. Clarify the report. So it was okay. So now I'm not seeing it here directly in the report. So this is where I don't want you to cite what I'm saying from here on out, or at least do so at your own expense. Because if I'm not mistaken, on the Fightful post-show review of SmackDown, SRS jumped on and chimed in that there's going to be a similar situation with Rhea. And that's what I was trying to get at. So there's going to be a similar situation with Rhea on Monday. She's going to have her own championship unveiling of her own. What's that going to be? Is it just going to is it going to be a white belt with a black background underneath the W? Like, is that what we're going for here? Because I feel like that's the closest we can get. Or is it just going to be white underneath, entirely white underneath? And what will they call it? Are they going to call that the World Women's Championship and this the WWE Women's Championship? Is that going to be the way they delineate the two, you know? And of course, let's not forget the Charlotte effect. Drop a new belt into the environment, and like a predator seeking out prey. That's a horrible choice of words. I was more so referring to the Wild when I was trying to say that. But yes, Charlotte sniffs out these championships. I honestly would prefer it being the Universal Women's Championship, even though the titles would be on opposite brands. But at the same time, it doesn't feel like something they want to do. I feel like they might, if they're going to be like delineated the two very subtly, then it'll just be like World Women's and WWE Women's. But I would like it to be the Universal Women's Championship out of the two options that they'll likely go with, you know. We don't colored swap big old. That would be worse. Would that be worse if Rhea's belt just looked like Seth's belt but with a white strap? Especially because there's kind of this little program going on between Judgment Day and Seth Rollins right now. It's kind of odd. Yes, and the women's division, yeah, as you pointed out, they're merging the women's tag titles. I was watching SmackDown and I saw and I heard Ronda's music hit, and I'm like, already? We're doing this now? Um and not for nothing, it's long overdue, but I felt like they would have tried to find a little bit more story motivation to make it happen. You know what I mean? And especially because these two teams are so vastly different. It was jarring to see them brawling because like it feels like there's supposed to be some spooky nonsense that happens, but Ronda and Ronda and Shayna just have some anti-magic fields on them or something. So there's none of that. They just have to be normal wrestlers. One of the things for certain, it's going to be an unceremonious unification of the titles. And I don't get it because the way they set it up feels so contrived since to come out. We want those, and the second they win them, those titles are going to disappear and never be seen again. So it doesn't feel like it's like a matter of we want to be more than one champion as much as we just want to stop there from being other championships, which is what you want from a booking standpoint, but it makes no sense for a character to have that motivation. With a gold belt strap, that would be awesome. I think that would be different. That would be something that they don't have any other championships doing right now. You know, because yeah, while it does seem like they're just trying to be like women's have white championship straps and men's have black championship straps, I feel like they should try and move away from that convention because one, white straps are great. You shouldn't make it be like a gender delegated thing. I remember when two during your ISO title. Well, yeah, you know me. I'm just one of a kind. Only I could do that. This is a bad joke. Moving on. Well, not rather moving on, but moving back to the topic at hand. With these titles, Rio, her title design, I'm having a hard time convincing myself it's going to be anything other than her just, you know, same title, black background, gray background, white background, whatever the case be, as close to the exact same thing as possible. Oh shit, you know what? If you're gonna pay me. You know, I yarded back in the day. I shouldn't have, but I did. Even after the "don't try this thing at home" kids thing that they would have on all the DVDs that me and my friends had. I The thing is, it's incredibly predictable, Craig. Oh, so to read it out for those who may not have seen chat, Craig asked in chat what I thought of this week's NXT main event and the results of it. And surfacely, I liked it because I like Thea Hale. I like her character work. She's just ball of cocaine is such a fun character that she does surprisingly well and feels kind of original in a way. You know, like I'm sure you could pluck another character from wrestling history and be like, no, this character right here. But Thea Hale feels very authentic in that she's herself. She's not overly characterized. There's plenty of room for the character to grow in a narrative sense. I'm a fan of Thea Hale. But this is an incredibly predictable outcome. On our way, Stratton's going to beat her, retain, move on. And that's kind of normal nowadays. You see it on AEW every week. You know, very few people who challenged OC for his title were convincing enough to take the belt off him from a booking standpoint. But like Thea Hale, they've really established is like rookie green as grass in NXT. So to just throw her into this now with also rookie green as grass champion in Tiffany Stratton. But damn it, you distracted me. It's like, what this? Who gave her some of my stash? I ain't doing none of that, okay? The Performance Center is in Orlando. It's probably closer to you than it is to me. I had nothing to do with it. Wink, wink. But with a championship scene that is going to be green competitor against green competitor, I think that there's room for things to go wrong. And this is me just going, oh no, somebody's going to get hurt. No, I don't like to just throw that out there on people. They're professionals. They know how to do their jobs better than I probably ever will. Yeah, but I also do think, after seeing it plenty of times, that putting people who are this early into their career out on a nationally televised platform to grow is not the best way to grow. That is going to now be immortalized. That anybody can go back and see that. And some people might like that, but some people might not. And there's probably I would venture to guess that there's at least a few people who have been on NXT television who probably aren't ready to be on television. Avoiding spoilers. Oh yes, because it is within our spoilers attitude. Also, for those of you who were here last night, it's chat. This isn't really going to have to do much with now, but I fixed the spoilers command now here in the chat. So when you do that, and this is for our mods to know as well. There we go. Yeah, just wanted to be like, yeah, I fixed the thing, y'all, just to let you know. But kind of setting this up. To try and keep my answers spoiler free as possible, Craig. I heard of it. I have not seen anything. I've only heard of the results, and I can say that I dig the result for very, for this will be spoilery, so no. For several reasons that I can specify in like the Impact chat later. Maybe. Sorry, I'm not leaving that one. Dude, that's whoa. No. No hard feelings, but no. um but to spin it back a little bit, in regards to NXT, it's time will tell. Maybe this is a chance for them to showcase their growth. Maybe Tiffany Stratton has more to offer than I've seen of her, but just seeing her in that match with Lyra for the title back at the PLE at Battlegrounds, it felt like she lost her way through the match a few times. That was a little concerning in terms of like you're gonna be a champion, you need to be able to lead a match. Hey Dara, what's up? Talking various things at the moment. Just kind of thoughts on certain shows throughout the week. So, yeah. Time will tell. Tiffany is definitely going to get better. Like, that's not me saying, like, she's a lost cause, you know. I think Tiffany Stratton has the potential to be somebody great in this business. The plot twist there is a Heyman reveal that he was... Oh my gosh, Typhon. What is the shock value messaging you're doing? Oh my goodness. With Slammiversary coming up for the Salt Place special, so that, you know what, that makes a lot of sense, Craig, because I also heard about something else that it goes with another result on the show, so that kind of like links up together. That's what we were discussing a little bit earlier, Dara. What would the belt that Rhea have be called if Asuka's the WWE Women's Champion? Realistic guesses: World Women's Champion or Universal Women's Champion, in that order. Unrealistic guesses, I would love to see them do something like take the word woman out of it, because you can make it a title all its own. You could make it be like the World Welterweight Championship or something like that. No, that's way too unrealistic. WWE doesn't fuck with weight classes like that. They're not fans of weight classes, so I don't see that being the case. No, Dara, don't will that into existence. Oh, that'd be rough. And not for nothing, Asuka and Rhea, they are some of like the most class athletes. They're some of the farthest members of the roster that could have been slotted into the Divas era of women's wrestling. WWE women's. Oh, that would be gross, Taekwon, but you might be right. Oh, because like they would see the literal one word as a delineation. We'd have the WWE Women's Championship and then the WWE Women's World Championship. And oh, that would be so... Especially because there were one with the gold background, one with the white or black background. Vince given to the World Women's Weight Champion. World Women's Weight Champion. That's good. Love that. Love that. That's fun. Oh man, the connotation of that is so the implication. That's great. Great A shit. The Lady Weight Championship. Yep, because that's so what would be their mentality is like we don't need to have different weight classes for women. They just need to be women weight. Like that would so be a Vince thought, Russ. Gonna veil a custom. Oh my gosh, yeah. Would that be her version of the FTW championship? This the unofficial championship that represents that. Eep. You see, that one I want to let slide because the begging jokes with Dom and Rhea have always popped me, particularly on the Wrestle Talk podcast with Dan and Luke. Dan would always make that joke with them early on in the program. Oh, but yeah, let's tone that down a little bit. Like, we want to. I'm not sure where. There was a topic I was gonna bring up like 5 minutes ago, and then I just completely got sidetracked, and it's never come back to my mind since. But I'm not letting it go. The mommy bet. Oh man. Wow, this has been a wild edition to Gablash, that's for sure. Speaking of that, what do you think of it, Cody versus Tom Future? No, you're fine, Craig. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for the clever, the clever yet redundant pun. That was fun. Dom versus Cody. Yeah, that's looking like it's going to be a feud, and I've seen some interesting speculation in regards to that. Honestly, I've seen some people throw out some ideas that have convinced me because when I was first watching this segment and the whole slap thing happened, I'm like, oh no. We're doing this because this goes one of two ways, right? You either have Cody derail Dom because Cody is that babyface that doesn't fall to the heel shenanigans very often, if ever. And if you have Dom win, then you have Dom having a victory over Cody Rhodes, Royal Rumble winner and WrestleMania main eventer. And now you put yourself in a position where you undeniably have to elevate Dom up the card, which in turn, I believe, only leads to a Dom versus Seth program. And oh no, Vince has a pencil. He's gonna put that belt on Dom because think of the heat, pal. No. No. Oh my gosh. Just war sounds in the background. You can see the PTSD is running amok. This is how Jinder Mahal happened, I think. Oh no. No. No, Jinder didn't quite happen like that, but there have been more than one heel champion crowned that way. I'm joking. There was a different plan behind Jinder. Jinder was an attempt to sell the product to a demographic. If I don't want to be done, that's what I'm saying. We cannot ever be able to call Dom a world heavyweight champion. Not this kid, Craig. No. Craig, I want Dom as world champion. This is great. But yeah, Dom was finishing the story where Corbin cannot. No. No, Craig, that's Dom. It doesn't do anyone derail him. He's a cowardly heel, so it won't ruin his. Dom being beat. I mean, if he lays down to him, maybe, but with the way the characters are, I feel like the way that match would be, the way it would properly be produced is Judgment Day going out of their way to derail superhero I am the greatest Cody Rhodes, who will probably fend them all off and will only then fall to Dom at the very end of a match with shenanigan after shenanigan after shenanigan. It'll be an overbooked mess. You know how Cody likes his stuff. And he'll probably still have his broken arm, just because we need those odds to be stacked. But like Dom just being like, okay, no, I give up. I feel like that would have to come in that moment. The match could be produced in a way that leads to that. And that would be interesting, like fends off Judgment Day. There's nobody that, like, Brandy shows up, fights off Rhea, which would be incredibly unbelievable, but that's how they'd book it. And Cody would have taken out Finn and Finn and Damian, or JD McDonough, depending on who he replaces, / if he's just a blatant addition. Not literally laying down. Oh. No, you're not. Okay, I see what you're saying. In which case, I respectfully disagree. Because the whole thing, Dom's character was... I mean, he has already lost to Rey. Yes. But they are still trying to keep that alive and go back to that. And they want to keep all that heat on Dom as much as they can. And don't get me wrong. It's not, this is ruined, throw it in the bin, completely tarnished, can never fix, Dom taking a pin to Cody, he can recover from that probably by Summer's End, to be honest. But if you want to maintain this fast track, then yeah. But I suppose if the only other alternative is Dom then has the momentum to go into a world title picture, no, have Cody beat his ass. I don't give a fuck. Have him get grounded. Have him go through the trials and tribulations of bad booking, or not even bad booking, but less than favorable booking. With the heat and the reaction, he has the perfect deal champion, especially at Roman. You see, Craig, you see, that opens up a whole nother can of worms with where the bloodline goes, because I've thought repeatedly of where the bloodline goes and how it gets to where it's trying to go. Now, Dom being world champion, come that time we have a face champion on SmackDown, that's doable. In fact, especially if the plan is for Cody to win Money in the Bank and or next year's Royal Rumble to then go on to face Roman in a rematch and actually win that title. He'll probably then move over SmackDown to be champion there. But Dom being world champ... Oh, I'm sorry. Roman, I don't see becoming a face until after he loses this title and then goes through that redemption arc. Because, I mean, yes, you can do the thing that has happened in wrestling plenty of times where it's like, oh, the fans are just cheering him so much, we'll just turn him face anyways. But Roman is so good at getting those boos because he's such a manipulative guy. He's so he from a mental perspective, he's so he's so dislikable. YouTube chat keeps disconnecting me. Oh, that's unfortunate. Have you tried refreshing yet? Apologies about that. Need the massive logo belt, so things don't look good. I can agree with that, Anthony Solo. We'll probably move back into the championship discussions in a moment, but I'm kind of derailing into bloodline fantasy booking for a moment. And it's not so much fantasy booking; it's just what I think may happen. Now, I mean, I'm not even exactly I'm not exactly hoping this happens, but it wouldn't be bad. And that is, Roman will remain champion until he is dethroned, either by somebody in the bloodline or outside of the bloodline. And that won't, either thing will more or less kick off the same story of Roman's fall from grace, the bloodline losing respect for him, fully, completely dropping him, acknowledging what he is, and that is a manipulative, conniving, self-centered individual. And whether he became that or was always that, you move forward in trying to redeem him from that, But the fact of the matter is, you have been acknowledged. You are great. You are these things, And his family, likely somebody in his family, Jay or somebody, or even Sammy, maybe, will try and make him see the error of his ways once more. And this time, he'll be much more open to seeing the light. Close my Firefox, reopen the tab, seeing what that does. No worries, you're all good, correct. I hope it works out for you. But that doesn't happen but none of that happens until he loses the championship, which he kind of can't. Dang it, Taekwon! You have struck yet again! So... blanked again. Wow, this ADHD is bad. Agreed. Just love the big goal, but more to the chat. Ooh. So that's easily like another year and a half, 2 years of Roman Reigns booking. Really, this is the thing, right? Because the current act they're in is the Roman Reigns is truly at the top of the top kind of thing, And it hasn't really been seen as such because he was so quickly at the top, it felt like. But Roman's, no pun intended, Roman's reign has had levels to it. Literally. He first won the title and made this claim, but what that really was is establishing what this character is setting out to be. That character didn't actually become what it set out to be in September 2020 until, late 2021, going into 2022. And only until both belts were won at WrestleMania 38 last year was it Roman Reigns is the god of WWE, like full-on god mode, as they were trying to get over, funny enough, a year prior to that. And that's not to say anything, but like when he stacked Edge and Bryan, that was a level up moment. When he first beat Brock before he then had 7 more matches, that was another level up moment because he didn't really get that definitive win over him. So this current act he is truly at the tippy top. He has this established dynamic, and he has had this established dynamic, and that's why he remains at the tippy top. But that established dynamic is starting to crumble. The one brick that didn't quite fit Sami Zayn fell out, and the foundation slowly started to crumble from here on out. Like one Mills Cornet. You have your piece of... I'm going to go back up to what you said earlier in the chat, Anthony. Don't you worry. Soto. Anthony Soto. That's funny. Close to Solo. Burner account? Question mark? Nah, just kidding. But nah. Fuck you for not having a pizza score, Taekwon. Maybe you should just get on my level. No. So the story they could be telling at this point, and I can never tell because there's been so many twists and turns in this story that have felt organic and like they made sense to the narrative while also completely derailing expectation. But we could be leading to, like, eventually the bloodline falls around him. All there is Solo. And for a little while, Solo will keep that title on Reigns, and we'll have another little chapter of this tale where it will just be Solo the Enforcer keeping that belt on him. And eventually, Solo starts to see, wait, Jimmy was right. Sammy was right. Getting used, But there's also this new interesting wrinkle that's been introduced last night on Friday Night SmackDown. I do apologize about the spoilers, but that has been leading into this. I will say that SmackDown is exempt from the spoilers ruling. So if you're not trying to talk SmackDown, then apologies. Perhaps tune in a little bit later. Please and thank you. But Jey Uso has been told by Paul Heyman that he is being conditioned to be the next tribal chief. And it's like, I don't know about that. That could be a lie by Heyman. That could be a lie by Roman. But that's one thing's for certain. That's not the actual intent. But will Jey be convinced of that? Personally, based on how SmackDown ended last night, I don't think Jey should be. I think that makes Jey's character look very unwise if that's all it took to make him side with Roman was a mishap super kick. So, and yes, I think Roman can have the same or bigger success as Dwayne in Hollywood one day. I don't think that's going to happen during this championship reign, though. I'll get into that a little bit more, a little bit later. Just because I keep pushing things off. I'm trying to get better with staying focused, y'all. I don't want to ever really blame anybody else for that. My focus is my issue. That's on me for wanting to host a podcast with this lack of focus. But yes, we can have Jey and or Solo sticking with Roman for a little bit until they finally see the error of his way, and then they drop him, and now it's just Paul Heyman and Roman Reigns again, like it was before they got Jey involved in October of 2020. Well, September and October of 2020, because there's, I believe it was it Night of Champions was supposed to be the first match? I can't quite remember. I'm not sure. I can't remember if they had a match before the I Quit Hell in a Cell or not. I don't think so. Now that I'm really trying to refresh my memory. Again, pandemic era wrestling, it can feel very samey, blend all together, you know. But until Reigns has nobody to watch his back, I don't think anybody's beating him for that belt. I could be wrong. Cody could win the Money in the Bank, cash in at SummerSlam, challenge, win that belt, you know. And it's going to suck because at this point, we've seen it happen several times, right? With Drew, with Sammy, and with Cody. It's like, this is the guy. This is the one who's going to end the reign. And then they don't. And everyone's like, well, we're just going to be sitting here forever with this then. At this point, I don't want to have another one of those. Okay? I've fallen into that trap way too many times. Chef Ramsay. Nice. I dig that. I love that show. So, is that going to be another year of booking? Is it going to be another 2 months of booking? Only time will tell. So, there's that on my thoughts on what they're going to be doing with this Roman Reigns situation. But he's keeping that title for a bit. That title that people have said looks like mustard, looks like a McGriddle, as we saw Taekwon say earlier in the chat. That almost popped me. I did my damnedest to not pop though, in my efforts to stay focused. We do have a better title design in the title that Seth has. I do kind of wish that the W and the globe wasn't black or silver, but rather gold alongside the rest of the gold. Just make the belt pure gold. But that's an otherwise minor complaint compared to the aforementioned Groundhog Day situation we have with every other world championship in the company. So I'll take it. I'll even still take the NXT title despite the fact that they splashed all the colors over it. Because it's still kind of a big gold belt. And that's what a world championship just feels like it should be. Yeah, and the more I think about it, if Rhea's championship is just Seth's championship with a white strap, I'm going to be so mad. I'm going to be so upset. Because at that point, I think I will have just rathered the W with a different color background. Because, like, don't do this copy and paste thing with your other designs, with your good designs. Don't take your good designs and make them be bad designs, you know? Like Roman, I think that would be perfect for the bad guy. Yeah, Roman has proven he can do really good as a bad guy. Belt should always be gold, especially the World Heavyweight belt. You see, here's the thing. I can get behind a silver belt. I can get behind a gold with accented belt. But a World Championship needs to be as big and as gold as you can justify it being without it being the New South Heavyweight Championship. Brand synergy! Yes, exactly, Craig. And that is the most damning part about WWE's decision making is it's all for marketing. So it's really for not. They don't want to change the big WB that they've handed out to sports teams for 10 years, you know? Because then that invalidates that and they got to run around and be like, "Oh, here's your new one." Or something like that or just only give out new ones. It's really weird. Yes, that's a good silver title design. I will also shout out the AEW World Trios Championships. I love the new designs that House of Black have introduced. That's such a good design for silver and gold. Whereas one I'm not a big fan of, admittedly, and I'll probably get some heat from this, especially from my fellow Ring of Honor kin. I don't like the current Ring of Honor World title design. I liked the one that Bandito had, that era had, the 2010s had. That felt like a more prestigious world championship for the reasons I've just mentioned. But I understand the nostalgia and the value behind that silver-plated championship. And Ring of Honor has very much accepted its role as what is effectively the sister slash feeder promotion to AEW. So there's that. Oh yeah, Anthony. I still get. No, I'm gonna be dramatic here, but I still wake up in cold sweats over the loss of the IWGP Heavyweight title. I'm not even going to sit here and make it be about shitting on the new title. But that other title didn't need to change. It didn't need to change. Like my feelings with the TNA Heavyweight Championship in 2010, 2011, when they put the blue on it, made the new title after Hogan came in. When Hogan came in and Hoganized TNA, I loved Kurt Angle's big gold title. That's the person I most associate with that championship because Kurt Angle probably held it more than anybody else. In the same way that Triple H held it. It's just like, why are we taking good designs and throwing them in the bin and then keeping shit designs for 7 years longer than you need to keep them? This isn't the way you should do things in an industry that is so based around the aesthetic of things, okay? Hear me out. I don't hate the new NGB. It's just that's exactly it, Taekwon. I don't hate it either. But I don't look at it and go, that's the world championship. I don't look at it and see the same championship that I saw Okada and Tanahashi and Omega holding. It's just not the same. And that's somebody who doesn't even watch New Japan regularly, who only ever saw it from afar and appreciated its role in the industry. That's always kind of what New Japan's been to me. I've never been somebody who's consumed it regularly. In fact, I can probably count the amount of New Japan matches I've seen on one hand, outside of like the full shows I've watched on the Discord in the last year. So I'm not going to sit here and be like, I'm a New Japan fan, but I so appreciate the role it has in the industry as a whole and what the industry is because New Japan is what it is and what it was. I do hate it. It looks like a glorified Divas Championship. And you see, Soto, that's completely fine. I'm never going to be people, oh, you're giving it too much heat. No, you hate the title, hate the title. You know, feel free to express that disgust with it, you know, because there's so many things in pro wrestling that are out and out worthy of that disgust that either don't get that disgust or don't get seen because of that disgust. And I think that needs to be a little bit, not so much cancel culture, but I do think that fans need to be heard more for their displeasure in things. So, you know, when you dislike something, say it. Just so long as you're just as vocal about the things you do like. You know, I think that's my only, like, prerogative on that. Is, like, you know, you feel free to express your criticisms. Just don't be one of those people who's on social media being like, I hate everything and I will express nothing I like. You know, not to say that's what you are. That's not me trying to say you're that at all. I'm sorry. Caffeine tangent. Do apologize about that. But yes, I missed that strap. It was a belt with a crown. It was literally a crown. And that's like, I personally find it hard to have a center plate design, like a center plate shape that feels unique and fitting for the championship. You know, like the World Heavyweight Championship gets it perfect. The classic NWA World's Heavyweight Championship, the big gold we come to know and love that's represented several world championships that, you know, the new World Heavyweight title is modeled after. That title, I feel like, is the epitome of pro wrestling championship designs. There is none better. Okay. And this is coming from somebody who truly loved the WWE Undisputed design from 2002 to 2004. We shall check out the fan mock-ups for the belt. Should maybe do a fan. Oh, I see a lot of them, Soto. I see them on social media when people design them in 2K. I've seen people like actually make custom belt designs, like actual belt designers do this. I've seen people go to belt designers to do it. I've seen people like digitalize. Almost, it's mind numbing how many people can be like, here's an objectively better design for you. And so that tells me that the people they actually have on the payroll to do those things can also produce that quality just by sheer statistics, just statistical odds, if nothing else. Oh, I am absolutely certain. Zoe doesn't even do belt designs. She does gear designs, but I know for a fact Zoe could design a better belt than most championships on WWE programming today. And while we're on this little tangent, can we all just take a glance over the NXT UK championships and just nod in shame at how those were the titles we chose to not keep and all of those unifications last year at Worlds Collide? Why are those tag titles not still around? Those are probably some of the best tag title designs in the industry today. For shame, blasphemy. As Zoe would say, bunch of wrongins they are. Sorry. Try and temper myself as we move into our final stuff because it's America. Take the UK logo off it. Pretend it was never there like you just did the Heritage Cup. It's the same goddamn thing. Traitor. I don't know what you're talking about, mate. There's my horrible British accent for the day. Now, yes, moving on to our final subject. Thank you. You are very welcome, Dara. It's such a shame. Thanks to you, Jimmy, with the most beautiful belts. It's regal, absolutely regal. Like, you can even look at the NXT UK Championship and see how it still vaguely resembles, if nothing else, in shape, the main World Championship on the main roster. Goddamn right, I'm a tea sipper. Oh, I finished on my coffee. Oh, well. Tea sipping in spirit. So, even that vaguely resembled the World Championship, but it was still so unique and fresh, and it had design on it. It has intricacy. There's details to it. There's reasons to look at it for more than a glance. I think that's it. I think I may have cracked the code, y'all. That's it. You just gotta make a design that's worth looking at for more than half a second. Why is it any harder than that? Use kilometers instead of miles. Whoa, calm down, Taekwon. Okay, buddy, I don't appreciate these false accusations. Woof. Sorry, just trailing myself. So yes, this final topic that I do want to move into before we hit our hour mark is Collision, AEW Collision, this uphill battle that it is fighting. I'm here from the UK, so I was proud of that belt. Yo, shout out! I love seeing more UK folk in our show. We have such a strong UK following here at WatchaMania. I appreciate y'all so much, especially because this is the only stream that is like at this hour. So y'all have to be practically nocturnal or night owls like our very own Forever Craig here. Above uses miles. It's mainland Europe. Ireland uses kilometers more. Ooh, shout out to our English viewers. Yeah, shout out to our English viewers. Shout out to Craig and Zoe, our English enforcers, who do great work for us at ridiculous hours by their own region standards. I even put BST in all of my things to accommodate our UK viewing audience. Sorry, don't mean to be like, don't mean to pat myself on the back here. Well, I'm from Scotland, but I'll take that. Are you still on BST time, or are you one time zone over? Scotland, nice. Shout out. Also, appreciate y'all sitting through my bad English accent, even if it was just for a line earlier there. I just get incredibly I know it's bad, and I do it despite it's bad because it's a little fun. It's 9 p.m. for you? Okay, BST it is. Nice. Okay, cool. I'm glad that I had that right specifically. That's what I'm getting at. So AEW Collision's uphill battle. There is quite a few issues that this podcast that this show seems to be facing. And that comes in the form of ticket sales, it comes in the form of international interest, and it comes in the form of the CM Punk plague. And that is a very harsh phrase. That is not so much me trying to outright call the man a plague himself as more as it is the name and what comes with the name. It's what it's what a lot of fans think of when they hear his name, and that is, oh my God, we're gonna have drama. Oh my God, we're gonna have problems. Oh my gosh, it's gonna be politics. It's gonna be this and that or the other thing is gonna be an issue. Very few people are thinking about the good things when it comes to CM Punk outside of the diehard CM Punk fans. And this is where I think that something should be taken from them in the sense that, like, we need to take a step back and not be so viscerally angry of it. Because there are people like that. Hell, we have shout out to Craig again here in chat, who also is not a fan of Punk in the sense he does not want to see Punk back. And I'll let him clarify his thoughts more on that if he feels like doing so. But my point with that being is that he's not sitting here trying to run down the thought of Punk every single time he comes up. And there's a lot of fans who do that if they dislike the notion of it. And that, in turn, is bringing some negative stigma to Collision, which is being seen as the CM Punk show for more than a couple of reasons, which we've discussed on the show over the last couple of weeks. So I won't get into those too much. But effectively, brand split and backstage issues plague. Sorry for geography facts. No, you're good. UK being England, Scotland, Wales, no. Fair enough, yes. Which is, I'm glad, thank you for pointing that out, because I do try to make that specification in UK viewing, because it isn't just pure, I probably shouldn't have just said English viewers, because yes, and as Anthony clarified, they are Scottish, but nonetheless, I try to refer to it as our UK viewing, because we have folks from all of those sects, in fact, who have popped up in our WatchaMania audience at one point or another. I'm back on track to Collision. CM Punk's name's kind of been more of a way to drive people away from the product than to drive people towards it. And that's working against AEW horribly, because now Collision is being launched in the complete opposite way that Rampage was. And hopefully that opposite presentation of Rampage will continue forth in that it will be much more successful than Rampage ever was, despite this rocky start. Because Rampage started off strong and has fizzled out into its Sunday Night Heat show, which is an okay spot for it to be at. But the thing is, a lot of people for far too long were led to believe that it was supposed to be more than that, and it just wasn't being. So that hurt Rampage in its own way. Now, Collision over time can become to see this is a great product. This is where we get our more sports entertaining AEW feel. Whereas Dynamite will be in the environment for our homegrown, for our more indie-based AEW of old style. And I say AEW of old, again, citing 2019 as old, but again, pre-pandemic. And it was a very different environment there between wow, it just got really hot in here all of a sudden. Sorry, y'all. But I lost my train of thought. But yes, it is a very different product from 2019 to even 2022. And a lot of that does have to do with Punk's presence in one way or another, even if it just led to even it led a chain reaction and how booking was affected throughout the year for AEW. But I can see Collision shaping up into a very good show. It can be what people always wanted Rampage to kick. Edibles kicked in, bro. No. But I have a metal roof in here, in this room. I live in South Florida, and it is mid-afternoon. And I guess it's just been warming up over time, and I only just now realized, and it's like, okay, that's why I'm starting to really get stuttery. I have like an AC here and a fan here, and it still ain't working out for me very well. Edibles kicked in, bro. That's funny. Especially because I looked like I was stoned last night with how tired I was. It's only solely the months of overdone drama and the lack of clarity since Brawl Out. For me, Punk is an amazing talent, but every time he's discussed, it creates a huge cloud of questions and arguments. To me, I personally don't want to argue. I want to watch this. You see, Craig, and that's exactly it. And I think in some way, shape, or form, that's a lot of people's sentiment. A lot of people feel that because mine's did. Hey, shout out to you, Anthony Soto. That's fun. But that's a great way to look at it, because I think a lot of people see it that way, Craig. I think a lot of people have a hard time denying Punk's talent and impact on the industry just as much as they have a hard time denying how problematic his presence in one way or another can be, whether it be him being the cause of the problem or not. Whether you look, regardless of what side of the fence you sit on that, or if you're sitting on the fence itself, or just outside of both yards entirely, not giving a damn. One thing is for certain is that it's the way this is the Punk effect. Sorry, got pop-ups over here now. Nord, not now. Sorry, Nord wanted an update, not now. But a lot of people have this. But regardless of this, it creates there is a stigma about him. Whether you love him or hate him, there's a stigma about Punk, and that is what drives a lot of people away now, as opposed to what brought him back. Because just 2 years ago, the name CM Punk had so much allure in the potential of returning to wrestling and changing the layout of it, changing the foundation. And in some way he did, but not exactly how people would have liked him to. And that kind of hurt. And that kind of hurt CM Punk, and that kind of hurt AEW. And I think AEW has to take a really delicate approach with this CM Punk situation and how they present him. And it doesn't feel like they're doing that right now. That can change come the show. But when you look at them pre-announcing Punk's return, pre-announcing his first return match and the main event match, and it's this completely thrown together match. Don't get me wrong. It's probably going to be a banger match, and it's probably going to set up one story or another at some point. And that's what AEW does. Matches motivate stories. Stories don't motivate matches. Oh, I'm sorry. Actually, no, I'm sorry. It's the reverse way around. Stories motivate matches. But I think that's where you're going to see the delegation between Dynamite and Collision, because I think Collision will go the other way around, and they will try to motivate stories more, whereas Dynamite will try to motivate matches more. Collision will be, for lack of a better term, a more character-driven product, whereas Dynamite will be a more competition-driven product, if that makes sense. And that could be completely off the mark. That could probably not even be what they intend on doing. But based on reports, based on what I'm seeing them set up, that feels like what they're going for. Bill Dundee, what does really seem Bill Dundee? What? I think I also see the same. Yeah. Yeah, you see, I get that, Craig, because I go back and forth with MJF, right? Some days I'm like, wow, you really are going to be seen as one of the greatest to ever do it when all is said and done. But then there's other times where I'm like, man, what are you doing? Why are you sinking to this level? Why do you feel the need to make that remark? Why is this your approach, you know? And I just don't, I think that MJF being a very polarizing individual for that reason is an okay thing, because when all is said and done, that's going to be a great benefit to him and his legacy. You know, CM Punk and John Cena, both for very different reasons, are polarizing figures in history, and that's one of the most notable elements of them. I get where you're coming from with that, Soto. And you see, this is where the MJF situation comes into play, right? Because a lot of these things that feel have you ever read and or watched something that had a character that was seemingly self-aware despite not actually being self-aware? Or at the very least, the writing of it was self-aware. MJF's character writing is self-aware in the sense that when he gets sweary, and it seems like a bit high school, when he intentionally gets politically incorrect, that, you know, when he really goes for the cheap heat, things like that, he's doing that knowing these reactions are coming. Like, how juvenile people will see it and how juvenile it will come off, because that's what he wants the kayfabe presentation to be. He wants you to see MJF, the character, as this character who is this young brat who thinks he's the wisest ever kind of individual. Now, because he goes so far out of his way to blur the line of kayfabe, a lot of people can't see where that line actually sits. So they don't know how much of that is the character or not. And that's me. I say this knowing that I may not be 100% certain in my estimation of that either. I can't be so egotistical as to think such a thing. I'm random internet guy number 2000. But MJF seems to have this very keen self-awareness that has layers to it that blend in and out of kayfabe. And that proves to be more of a detriment to him than anything. Because too many people see it as, well, that's really you then. You want us to believe you. It's really hard to word it, but effectively he sold you too well on who he is. He is too successful in convincing you that the character is the person, that they are one and the same in certain degrees where they're not. And that's going to hurt him over long term. And even coming to understand that about him won't necessarily change that perspective about him, you know? That's the damning part, you know? Me explaining this to you, even if you go, okay, well, I understand that, that doesn't change the fact that it feels still a bit high school, you know? That doesn't change the fact that that may not be your flavor of entertainment. So I think that's where MJF harms himself. I think if he were to try and lean away from those things that he tries to make be a part of the character but comes off too much as the person, then it will in turn diminish a lot of the criticisms about him and will allow his stock to grow even more. And that's saying that knowing that WWE is keenly watching his contract situation, waiting for that to come up. So, like, to some extent, what MJF is setting out to do is working, both in character and out of character. Like, what his character is setting out to do is working. What he is setting out to do is working. Which is very hard to determine because he made it be that way. And that kind of sucks for him more than in anything. So, like, again, going back to what I said, if you dislike something, make it be known. You know, don't hate attack something. Offer your criticisms, because eventually that will get through, or at the very least it will get through to a product that listens to its consumer, who it listens to its fan base, its audience. But anyways, I think that has been enough chatter for today. I've run it for about an hour now, despite our late start here. Do apologize about all the tech issues on the previous stream. Thank you to those who came by for the new one. This is actually our second attempt at Gablash today, thanks to computer and internet connection issues. Do check us out. We are live throughout the week, although it is a little bit later in the afternoon, so it isn't the most friendly to our European fan base. Tomorrow evening, we'll be going live 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern, 11 p.m. British Summer Time for MyGM mode 2K23. I'll be playing here with Craig, Cameron Zebra, and Mino. We'll be doing a week 2 of our MyGM mode. Week 1 was won by Ben, who is represented by WCW. Good chat, sub earned. Thank you so much, sir. I appreciate you. I believe that might make us 110 now. That's awesome. We're really trying to get up and off the ground here. Yes, do drop a thumbs up on this video. For those of you who might not, those of you who might be watching on playback, of course, drop a sub if you haven't already. Plenty interactive. We'll be chatting quite a bit on that 2K stream tomorrow. And do tune in for AEW Dynamite and Rampage Watchalongs live when they're live. I say that because Rampage tends to find itself a different spot elsewhere on the week, in the week rather, on occasion. Oh, hello, Vora, I believe that is. Hello. Thank you for swinging by. But yeah, you have a good evening. Y'all take care. Be easy. And happy wrestling.